welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be working on these short and simple cat eye effect nails. This is pretty easy to do, so let's get to it. So I've already tipped her nails and right now I'm just applying the nail prep and the bond. For the prep, I usually use the Mia Secret dehydrator, and then for the bond I use the Omega Nails protein bond. The protein bond that I'm using is kind of like a gel based as per the instructions. You are actually supposed to put it under the UV lamp for about 30 seconds. I do that sometimes, but I don't do it all the time because we are in a tropical country and it is naturally hot. I usually just let it set with the natural heat of the air. It is important that whenever you are applying any nail products to your nails that you only apply it on the nail bed and not on your skin, because nail products are not designed for the skin and some of them may cause irritation and can even go as far as causing an allergic reaction. So right now we are going to apply the acrylic, and this is a one-tone acrylic, and this is actually a customized base that I made and it's called Just Beige. If you look at it carefully, you can see that if you wanted to wear it as a natural color, like a natural nail color, you don't need to apply any nail polish because it's a opaque acrylic and it doesn't need polish if you don't want to polish it. But because we are going to polish, we are just applying it like a regular acrylic overlay, and then we will be painting it on for the design that we want. I am using a size 18 100% Kolinsky nail brush. When I started doing nails, I started with the size 8, and as time went by, I went up and up. So the sizes usually start from 6, and it's 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. I do still use sizes that are smaller than 18, but I use this size for most of my applications because I have gotten to the point where I can use it without having problems with my application, and it makes the work go a lot faster because it is a larger brush. It picks up a lot more product, and though it's a big brush, it is very easy to use once you know how to use it. just like the Bond or any other nail products, you also have to ensure that your acrylic application is as close to but not touching your cuticle, because your cuticle is a live breathing space. Anytime you have acrylic that is packed into your cuticle or above your cuticle, what happens is that it's going to create a gap, and that's usually where the nail starts to lift. So if your acrylic is on your cuticle or packed into your cuticle, after maybe about 3 days, you're going to notice that your nails have pockets, and eventually they will lift, or even worse, they may not lift, but because of the air pocket that is underneath the nail, it's going to keep water and moisture, and that can breed bacteria or even a fungus. So whenever you're applying acrylic, whenever I apply my acrylic, I always try my best to make sure that I clean my cuticle line as I go ahead, so that it prevents the acrylic from curing into the cuticle, because once it's there, it's going to be very difficult to get out. And that is what practice does. When you're doing nails, you have to practice a lot. Practice makes perfect. The more you practice, is the better you are able to perfect your craft, and the better you're able to work with your beads and your acrylic to liquid ratio. All these are very important. And if you also notice as well, I wipe my brush very, very often. I wipe my brush more than I even notice, and that is important because acrylic sets with the air. So if I continue to apply acrylic and not clean my brush, what happens is that the acrylic is going to set in the brush, and when that happens, it prevents me from picking up a good bead, because the acrylic has already cured in the brush, and then I would have to take some time to soak off that brush and then continue my work, and that's too time consuming. So to avoid all that, I clean my brush as I go along. It is actually better to take your time to apply your acrylic when you're in the application stage. That way you have a lot less filing to do. The more bumpy and lumpy your application is the harder time you will have when it comes to fine-tuning your shape and getting your nails ready for polish or whatever else that you'd have to do in it. But if you take your time to do your application and make sure your application is done properly, then when it comes to filing, you have a lot less to do. It's a lot less stressful. For my filing, I usually use a hand file to fine-tune my shape because I just feel more comfortable using my hand file. I usually use my e-file to clean around my cuticles and my side walls, for those little spaces that your hand file cannot reach. But when it comes to the majority bulk of the work in terms of filing your nails, I like to use my hand file, and I use a 100/180 grit. The higher the number, the smoother the file. The lower the number, the rougher the file. So one side of the file is rough enough for artificial nails, and the other side you can apply it on your natural nail bed. So being that it's a two-side file, I usually use the first side to get rid of any bumps or lumps that may be or may appear on the surface of the nail, or to get rid of bulk on the nail, and then I use the 180 side to fine-tune and get rid of the harsh lines that can be produced from using the file from the 100 side. Bear in mind that this video has been sped up, so it is looking a lot more aggressive than it actually is in real time, and this does not hurt, it does not cause any discomfort or pain. You do have to have some type of training in using your hand file, because depending on how you hold the file, you can alter the entire shape of the nail. Filing does not hurt, and once you are trained in holding the file, you will not scratch the person, because nail files can give a deadly cut. So you have to be very careful when using the hand file, especially when you're using new ones. Once I'm done, I move over to my e-file, and this file is fairly new and I love it. It is 3,500 RPMs, so it spins very fast, but I do not use it. I have never used my e-file on the highest speed because it's not necessary, it is not needed. About midway or a little more than half, you can get the speed to do whatever it is that you need on nails. So right now I'm using my cuticle bead, and like I said, I am just fine-tuning my cuticle lines, making sure that there is no acrylic dried on the cuticle, making sure that there are no overlaps, making sure that it is neat. If it's one thing that's my signature, I love seeing neat nails with neat cuticles, no product on your cuticles. So that's what I'm doing right now, and once I am done with that, I will move on to buffing the nail. I like using these orange buffers because they are small. It's ideal in terms of size, and you can get to cover the entire nail without having to move it around too much. It's just going from a side to side motion, making sure to apply a little bit of pressure, because what the buffer actually does, it's like a smoothing sandpaper. So the files create scratches in your work because it's a rough file, And then when you have the buffer gives it that smooth touch, so that when you actually apply your polish, you don't see any streaks or lines or smearing in your acrylic. It's just a smooth surface, and that is the result that you want whenever you're doing nails. You don't want your nails to look lumpy, bumpy, or look like it has streaks in it. You want it to be smooth and look effortless, look like it has been stripped out of a magazine. That's the kind of nails that you want to have. That's the kind of nails that you want to produce for your clients, and that's how you want people to remember you. Something that is significant and unique. So right now we have done all the hard work. I have sent her over to wash her hands, and at this point I am just applying base coat. Base coat is not necessary when you are actually doing acrylics, because acrylic is dry. However, I like applying base coat because it makes my work, I guess, to me, it makes the polish look more seamless. It looks like it's a smoother application. To me, that's just my opinion. So I normally apply one coat and then I put it to dry for about 30 seconds, and then I proceed to my gel color. Now at the shop we only use gel polish, so regardless if I want it or not, I would still have to use my lamp. So I just use base throughout because I have to use it anyways. It is not necessary for acrylics because it is not a natural nail bed, but like I said, I just like doing it. It makes me comfortable and I like the result that it gives. So in order to produce this cat eye effect, I am actually going to apply one coat of black nail polish to the nail, and I will only need one coat because the cat eye effect goes on top of that polish. And what the cat eye effect is, it's really just an interesting nail polish where the polish itself contains very, very fine pieces of magnet. Yes, magnet, and you have to use a special tool to gather the pieces into a particular design, and then you cure the polish. So it's something that you really do before you actually dry the polish. Once you apply your base, you dry your base, and then you go ahead and you put your cat eye on the nail, and then you create the illusion that you want to put on there. And the only reason why they call it cat eye is because if you do the design diagonally, you will notice that it looks like a cat's eye. So that's really why they call it cat eye, and you can actually get it in many colors. I have maybe about 20 different colors, but it looks best on black. You can apply it on other colors like red, but it's just a matter of what works with what. But you can really apply it on anything and it will still give you that effect. You just have to ensure that you do it the right way so that you can get the results that you want. Whenever you apply gel polish to your nails, whether it be artificial nails or your own natural nails, you have to ensure that you clean off the unwanted or the smears in the polish before you actually put it in the lamp. Because what happens whenever that polish dries, it stays wherever it dries. This is not like generic polish where if you happen to smudge it or you happen to put some that is on your actual finger or on your cuticle, that you can easily take acetone and just rub it off. Gel polish does not work that way. So to avoid that problem, whenever you apply your gel polish before you actually cure it, you would use a brush, any type of artist brush with either alcohol or some people use acetone, but I feel more comfortable using alcohol. So you just use some alcohol and you clean your cuticle lines before you cure that polish, and that too adds to the neatness of your final work, where your cuticle lines are clean, there's no polish all over your finger and on your skin and on the tip of your fingers. Your work looks flawless and it just looks well put together, like you took time to make sure that you did a good job. That's how I work, that's how I like to see it, and I really do not accept anything less. When I work, I like to make sure that my work is neat, and I like for when my clients look at their nails, they'll be like, oh my god, I love it, and I can take pictures that's clean. Because believe it or not, your nails that is seen on another person says so much more about you, because remember, you are not there to represent your work or to be like, oh well, it is that way because I wasn't able to do such and such. Whenever you produce something and you set it out into the world, you want to make sure that it gives a good representation of your work and your values and your business, because when they see it, they'll be like, oh my god. Like sometimes, because of the type of work that I do, when people see certain nails, they'll be like, you did that by Ashena, right? And it's not mean to brag, but it's because I have created a profile for myself that usually when people see a certain type of nail design or the way that the acrylic is laid and the way the cuticles are clean, they know that it came from me. Right now I am applying the cat eye polish, and she chose a purple one. Like I said, I have them in numerous colors. I think I have about 20 of them, different colors and different shades, and they also have different gradients. So right now I'm just applying all the polish, and then I'm going to clean, make sure as well I clean around my cuticles, because this is also gel, and if it sticks on the finger, it is not going to come off once it is cured. So at this point, once I have applied all the polish, I go ahead, I grab my tool, and this is the cat eyes. You can actually see what's written on it. It's a cat eye magnet, and what it does, once you apply it and you put it close enough to the nail without touching it, what it does, it pulls all the magnet particles together, as you can see, and it creates that beautiful illusion that really does look like a cat eye. Now that this is dried, I go ahead and I apply one fine coat of gel top coat, and this is a no wipe top coat, which means unlike some of the gel top coats, once it's out of the dryer, you would actually have to use some alcohol on a lint free pad and wipe it off to get rid of the sticky inhibition layer, because that's really how gel works. Gel is basically layer upon layer, so whenever it dries, the top remains sticky for whatever else that you have. But because this is a no wipe top coat, what it does does is that it just seals it off completely and leaves it with a remarkable shine. And I don't know how we did it with generic nail polish. I cannot go back. I will never be able to go back. Gel polish is everything. Once you have gel polish on your fingers, there is really nothing else that you need. You can literally just walk out and go and do whatever you want because your nails are dried and you are done. Once the nail has cooled, I go ahead and I apply my cuticle oil to the cuticles. And cuticle oil is important whenever you're doing acrylic nails, just because when you are prepping the nail for the application, it's natural that you have to dehydrate the nail plate to improve the enhancement. So whenever you're done, you have to go ahead and apply some cuticle oil, and the cuticle oil gives it that shine and also restores the moisture in your nail. At this point, we are going to apply some small gems on the ring finger. So to do that, I normally use my gel glue, and by gel glue I mean it has to be placed into the lamp in order for it to cure, for it to dry. So what I normally do, I apply my gel glue before I top coat, and then I apply my top coat and then I cure it, so that when it cures it doesn't leave any glue residue behind. Because this is a gel, even though it's a glue, if it's not coated with a top coat, it will still leave a sticky substance behind. So once I get this out of the dryer, this is really it. There's nothing else that is added to this. So if you watched the video up until here, I want to say thank you so much for watching my video. Remember to subscribe to my channel. This is the end result. It is beautiful, it is simple, and I love the illusion. Sometimes it looks just black, other times you can see the purple streak on there. It is different and I love it, and she loved it, most importantly. So thank you guys for watching. See you next time. Mwah.